go to the polls and vote no on Amendment 1. It's the right thing to do.
Thank you, Representative White, and
much.
thank you, Representative Turner.
Thank you for having us.
Okay. Okay.
When life's this hard, graduating can be even harder. But you can help Ativa and the students in your community make it through by visiting boostup.org.
Welcome to Memphis Style Politics. We're back with the second part of the show. And on this segment, we're going to discuss the second constitutional amendment, which would be on the November 4th ballot. And my guest today to talk about this amendment, which is a judicial amendment focusing on whether judges will be, appellate court judges and Supreme Court judges will be appointed by the governor and then approved by the state house and the state senate should this amendment pass. And my guests to talk about this today are Judge Johnnie Bailey.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
Glad to see you back on the bench. And also Attorney and County Commissioner Van Turner. Congratulations on your win as for County Commissioner. Now, Judge Bailey, I know that you are strongly opposed to this amendment. Could you explain to us why?
Well, the present system for filling vacancies is that the governor appoints, but before the governor makes the appointment, we have a judicial evaluation commission. And that commission screens candidates, and it looks at their background, qualifications, their professional experience, and it makes recommendations to the governor. Well, now, until recently, that evaluation commission was composed of people that were appointed by the representing the different aspects of the courts, lawyers groups, but now the evaluation commission is composed entirely of 9 members who are appointed by the state legislative leaders. They then make the recommendation to the governor, and the governor makes an appointment. The change primarily is that they wouldn't have this evaluation process, which then takes out that objective evaluation, and instead, the governor simply picks who he or she wants to pick. Then, though, it has to be approved by both houses of the legislature, and that's where the problem comes in. Because, as you know, well, you may not know, but my great concern here is the legislature has become increasingly active in trying to influence the way the judiciary does its business. And I think in some respects it's been meddling into the business of the court unnecessarily. And I think that it has treaded over the fundamental concept of the separation of powers and the checks and balances of the executive, legislative, and judicial, and they've intruded too much into the judicial. And I think that to give them this additional power of the veto of the judges that sit on our appellate courts, in addition to the power that they already have for those who evaluate the judges once they sit as to whether or not they should continue to sit. That, and given some of the legislation, such as recent legislation to modify the rules of procedure on summary judgment in civil cases, and some other legislation that the independence of the judiciary is threatened seriously.
Okay. Commissioner Turner, could you explain to me why you don't support Judge Bailey, who has a different opinion than you on this matter?
No, I support Judge Bailey.
Well, we all support the Baileys.
And I support
but on this Amendment 2 issue,
Right.
you have a different.
Right. Yeah. I'm supporting the amendment for a couple of reasons. One, I would like to preserve what we have now with respect to the retention vote. As it stands now, every 8 years, we don't really elect judges directly like we would do Judge Bailey in our local elections. What we do is we vote to either retain that judge or have that judge not be retained in retention vote. So this amendment preserves that, which I like.
Well, are you sure that, because I'm being told, and I could be wrong, that the deadline for the yes-no retention vote in the state of Tennessee has passed, and there's question as to what actually will happen if this does fail, they're saying that we may not do the yes/no retention vote, that we may end up with a popular vote, in which many people, particularly in the African American and Democratic community, are concerned about running statewide in a popular vote.
Exactly. That's why I'm supporting the amendment. This amendment will keep in place the yes/no retention vote.
You're sure about that?
Yeah, it says that in the language of the amendment.
Okay. I just want to be.
Yeah. Yes, right.
Is that accurate, Judge Bailey?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the yes/no retention vote remains.
The retention vote remains.
Okay, I didn't. Okay.
But keep in mind now that the committee that first has to decide whether you can qualify to be retained is the Performance Evaluation Commission, not the Nominating Commission now. And that Performance Evaluation Commission is appointed by the Speaker of the House and Speaker of the Senate. Well, they have 9 members right now, and the law says that they're supposed to reflect the population of the state. Of those 9 members, 1 is non-white and 2 are women.
Which does not reflect and there was a suit filed on that. Do we know what the outcome of the suit was?
Well, I know that the chancellor in Nashville said that it was a violation of the Equal Protection and Due Process Clause of the rights of women and blacks. That was a ruling made in Nashville. Now, where they'll stand in the appellate process is another thing. But if that's what we're going to get from legislative leaders on the commission that will evaluate judges, then you can imagine what we're going to get when it comes to appointments. We're not going to get fair representation.
Okay, we only have a minute, so could you just wrap this up on your thoughts on Amendment 2?
Well, the reason I'm supporting Amendment 2 is it preserves the status quo. Now, I'm not particularly keen of the Assembly confirmation of the candidate, but the thing that I do like about that is if the Assembly does not act for confirmation, that person is automatically confirmed after 60 days. So you wouldn't have the gridlock like you have on the federal side. They can't make their mind up. The judge is just not seated.
So if there's no action,
then the person is seated after 60 days, and it preserves the yes/no retention vote. And as you indicated, these judges who we have now, we have a diverse bench, and it's getting more diverse. They won't have to run in a popular election, which could jeopardize.
Well, now Speaker Ramsey has said that he wants Republicans. He didn't say diverse.
Right.
And we know what that means.
I want to thank you both for discussing Amendment 2, which has been somewhat controversial, and it's a lot of people don't understand it. So I just appreciate you very much for being here, Judge Bailey and Commissioner Turner. Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing it.
Welcome back to Memphis Style Politics. On this segment, we're going to be discussing Amendment 3 and Amendment 4. Amendment 3 deals with taxes, income taxes, whether or not we will never be able to have income taxes in the state of Tennessee. And right now we deal a great deal with property tax and sales tax, which some people consider regressive. Actually, they are regressive. And then Amendment 4 deals with gaming. And our guests today are Representative Mark White and Representative Johnnie Turner, and they will touch on these subjects. But prior to touching on those 2 subjects, I'd like to, all 4 of these amendments, 1 is on abortion, 2 is on the judiciary, 3 is on income tax, and 4 is on on gaming. So for these 4 amendments to pass, what do voters need to do?
What they have to do, what it has to be done, is that the total number of votes cast for in the governor's race, which is everyone running, the total number of votes, let's take a round number, say you have 1,000 votes total cast for the governor's race. Well, in order for these amendments to pass, you have to have 50% plus 1. So you'd have to have 500 votes plus at least 1 more for
any of the amendments to pass.
And equally important, you have to vote for the governor in the governor's race.
So you can vote for anyone running for governor, just so long as you vote.
But you have to. If you don't vote in the governor's race, the amendments won't count. Your vote on the amendments are nullified.
So they are no.
Right, and that's what we're telling a lot of people, because they don't see familiar names and haven't heard a lot.
But they need to vote.
You got to vote for a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat. You got to vote. Well, I wish they would, but since we're being impartial.
Can we touch on number 3, the Amendment 3, which is the
us the state income tax, I fought vehemently against that because I think it's unfair that we would impose our conservative views and stop our future generation from making more liberal decisions. Because if we don't have if we say negate the possibility of ever having an income tax, that means you got to raise sales taxes. You got to raise taxes on food. And the one who is a regressive tax and the one who loses are those with the least means.
Okay.
Why should I pay the same amount of taxes for a loaf of bread that some rich banker pays?
Okay.
It's not.
Yeah, and I am yes on this because I'm of the belief that government's going to spend every penny that they get, and so the states currently that are doing the best, the United States of the 50, are all states who do not have an income tax. And so we went through this a couple years ago under Governor Sunquist, knockdown, drag out, and so this will just put that we will not have an income tax, a burden on the people.
Okay, note 4 on gaming.
Okay. Amendment 4, this is one that is going to be very difficult if people don't study ahead of time. But back in 2002, we passed the Tennessee lottery. Back in the 1980s, we had the Rocky Top scandal. And so when we passed the 2002 Tennessee lottery, the gaming issue was very tricky. So they just said, we had the Tennessee lottery, and only 501c3s could also have certain gaming,
Which
such
is
as
veterans.
cakewalk. But, well, the veterans organizations like the American Legion and VFW are 501c19s.
Oh, okay.
So they just got left out. No one really caught that. So what the language will do is put 501c3 19s back in with the 501c3s so that they can also have fundraising activities throughout the year.
Okay.
It will help our veterans organizations.
Okay. Well, we have to wrap up now, and I want to strongly encourage everyone to go vote on November 4th. And I want to thank my state representatives, Mark White and Johnnie Turner, for being here to help educate our voters and our viewers on what's important. These 4 constitutional amendments are important. Please don't skip on them, and please vote on November 4th. Thank you for watching.